Hello guys, welcome back to Archive Racing. In this video I'm gonna talk about Katya KLEIN new buff and new recommended Logistic talent build. So let's start with the Crossbow weapon buff. Before getting buff, Crossbow weapon damage will reduce if the target enemy get closer than 10 meter. And after the buff, Crossbow weapon have an unlimited range, which means it doesn't matter how far or how close the enemy location to you, there is no damage reduction for Crossbow weapon. So from now, you no longer need to watch the distance between Katya from the enemy. And the next one is the special firing mode from Crossbow weapon are changed from spread shot to explosion bolt that can deal AoE damage to 5 targets. So if you change to special mode, we no longer shoot 5 bolts at once in a fan shape. Instead, we will shooting an explosion bolt that will explode upon contact and deal AoE damage up to 5 enemies within the AoE. The AoE range is quite large that even can reach the flying enemy, so if you are too lazy to aim for the flying enemy, you can just shoot the ground and let the explosion do the job. The explosion can even pass through objects, so you can shoot enemy that behind cover. And the damage between special mode and normal mode to destructible object or part are the same, even in standard skill state. So, if you want to destroy destructible part or object, using normal mode are better, because normal mode have faster fire rate than special mode. Also, the last one is the explosion from special bolt deal no damage to destructible part or object. So, which means if you want to destroy destructible part with special mode, you will need to shoot directly to the destructible part. While for the special shot damage, here is the normal mode damage per shot, while here is the special mode damage per shot. And this one is the sustain DPS for normal mode, while this one is the sustain DPS for special mode when hit 2 enemy at once. So you can see that if you use special mode hitting 1 or 2 enemy, your special mode sustain DPS is still far from the normal mode sustain DPS. You will at least need to hit 3 or more enemy to approach or surpass the normal mode sustain DPS. So always make sure to use your special mode when there is 3 or more enemies stay closer together in order to produce a high sustain DPS more than the normal mode. And the next one is standard skill buff. The first thing that changed from the standard skill is from the previous version, using Katya KLEIN standard skill without giving any direction will make Katya KLEIN dash backward. While after the buff, using Katya KLEIN standard skill without pressing any movement direction will make Katya KLEIN use her standard skill without dash to any direction. So if you want to double dodge like usual, always remember to press any movement direction before use the standard skill. In standard skill state, for normal mode almost didn't have any change, while for special mode, when in standard skill state, shooting in special mode consume more skill energy is shot. So it increased from the previous version is 0.5 skill energy per shot, while in this version is 1.5 skill energy per shot. And another change from her standard skill is the standard skill fire rate when in special mode are reduced from 4 shots per second to 2.86 shots per second. But the good part is the final damage of special firing mode are reduced to 76% when in standard skill state. From the previous version, it will reduce to 48% just like the normal firing mode. So this one have more final damage than the previous version. So I guess this might be able to compensate the fire rate loss in this version. And also the best part from her standard skill buff is, if you upgrade her standard skill buff in the Neura upgrade, after performing tactical dodge, it can increase Katya attack percent by 15% for 8 seconds. The previous version Neura upgrade, tactical dodge only can reset the standard skill cooldown, while in this version, instead of only reset the standard skill cooldown, tactical dodge can also increase attack percent by 15% for 8 seconds. So if you are about to get hit by enemy, don't hesitate to dodge, because dodge not only reposition your character and save your character from getting hit by enemy, tactical dodge can also increase Katya damage. While for her support skill didn't have any change. And the next one is ultimate skill buff. In ultimate skill buff, Now we got a new effect, new passive effect. If your shot trigger Dewo skill effect and hit enemy, can inflict cool star value stacks to the enemy hit. In order to know your shot are trigger the Dewo skill or not, you can see from this footage. If your shot coming out from your crossbow and hitting the enemy will only glow bluish color, that means your shot didn't trigger Katya Dewo skill. But if your shot glow yellowish after coming out from the crossbow and hit the enemy, that means your shot is triggering the Dewo skill effect. So if the enemy getting hit by your shot that also trigger the Dewo skill, the enemy will get inflicted by cool star value stacks. And after the cool star value stack reach the stacks limit, it can freeze the enemy for 2 seconds. The initial cool star value stacks limit is 10 stacks, which means after the enemy reach 10 stacks of cool star value, the enemy will frozen. But in order to repetitively freeze the same target, the cool star value stacks limit for the same target will gradually increase from the initial 10 stack to 20 stack, 40 stack, 80 stack, and maybe will reach 160 stack. That means it will become more harder to repetitively freeze the same target with cool star value effect. This gradually increased stacks limit will only become a problem when you want to deal with Titan boss, because usually mobs are easily getting killed before they got refrozen by the cool star value effect. Well, you can also freeze the enemy without using cool star value effect by using support skill or using ultimate skill. And the last one is normal shot can only inflict 1 cool star value per shot, while special shot can inflict 2 cool star value per shot to the enemy hit, which means it's much faster if you want to freeze a bunch of enemy with special shot. This cool star value freezing effect making her become very effective to deal with mobs, because it can synergy with the explosion from the special shot that make a special shot can also become a crowd control skill. While for the Dewo skill buff, for the damage it didn't have any change from the previous version, but this time the additional damage from the Dewo skill can deal double damage to frozen target. This one make her Dewo skill highly synergy with the ultimate skill passive, where the cool star value will freeze the enemy and make her Dewo skill can deal double damage to the frozen target. So make sure to always prioritize shooting at frozen enemy because your Dewo skill can deal double damage to them. And you can also use Katya KLEIN support skill, ultimate skill, or other operative support skill, for example, Rifle Wild Hunt support skill, to freeze the enemy so Katya KLEIN Dewo skill can deal double damage to them. And the last one is, in special mode, the chance to trigger Dewo skill is double, but the final damage will be decreased by 50%. Which means this one make her special shot can freeze the enemy more faster by the cool star value effect, because cool star value effect can only stack up when your shot trigger the Dewo skill. So this one synergy with the cool star value, but the downside is only the final damage will be decreased by 50%. While for the manifestation buff, for manifestation 1 are still the same, and for manifestation 2, the damage for destructible part are still the same, but each hit on destructible object or part can restore 0.x skill energy, where from the previous version can restore 0.2 skill energy, now it can restore 0.x skill energy. Which means, if you shoot at the destructible part in normal fire mode, you will only consume 0.5 skill energy per shot. But if your shot hit the enemy, you will restore 0.x skill energy. So instead of consuming skill energy, you will regain skill energy instead. Well, as long as your shot keep hitting the enemy destructible part. If you miss, then it will consume your skill energy. This one is very good buff. It can even make your standard skill didn't consume skill energy at all when shooting at destructible part. While for manifestation 3, the stamina cost is still the same, but the only change is after performing tactical dodge, the manifestation 1 effect stacks won't decrease for 5 seconds. The previous version won't decrease for 3 seconds. Now it won't decrease for 5 seconds. So which means if you manage to reach manifestation 3, This one is also telling you to never worry if you want to perform a tactical dodge, because this one will save your manifestation 1 effect stack from decreasing. So you can always performing tactical dodge, either you want to dodge from the enemy attack or you want to increase your attack percent. While for manifestation 4 didn't have any change, and in manifestation 5, they say that increase alignment index by 168%. Percent symbol in there is just an error, so just pretend that you didn't see the percent symbol in there. So the manifestation 5 are still the same like before. It can increase alignment index by 165, and the only change is this. These effects are no longer have restriction. So it doesn't matter how close or how far you stay with the enemy, this effect will still active. So here is the calculation for comparing the logistic talent. I use my actual Katya KLEIN build, so my Katya KLEIN is still manifestation 0 with a tier 2 Neptune Nova, while the equipped logistic have a alignment index talent that can increase 90.1 alignment index. And here is, for example, the damage that my Katya KLEIN can deal. The upper one in here is the normal shooting damage, while the one in here is her Dewa skill damage. So if we input them to the calculation, you can see that the normal shot between the actual and the calculation almost didn't have differentiation with the calculation. That is still within plus minus 1%, while for the Dewa skill damage, have a little bit differentiation that's still within plus minus 1%, where plus minus 1% differentiation is a pretty common thing, because your damage always have a plus minus 1% variety. And now I'm gonna delete this. So here is the damage per shot, while here is the Dewa skill damage per shot, and here is the total damage between your normal shot and Dewa skill damage. So this total damage is come from when my logistic have a alignment index talent that can increase 90.1 point alignment index. So I gonna write it down in here, and below here you can see that there is a talent stat ranking table that can show you what ranking your logistic talent stat can be. And from here you can see that my logistic alignment index talent stat is a rank A talent. What if we change this talent with a rank A crit damage amplifier? So rank A crit damage amplifier can give you 5.4 ballistic damage increment that came from 9% crit damage amplifier times 0.6%. So the result is 5.4% ballistic damage increment. And I'm gonna change this alignment index talent with the crit damage amplifier talent rank A. So the total alignment index will become 300, while here we'll have a ballistic damage increment about 5.4%. And the total damage will be this much. So you can see the differentiation between equipping the alignment index talent with the ballistic damage talent. So the alignment index talent can provide more damage than ballistic damage talent can do. This is also the same for the highest rank stat. The alignment index still can provide more damage than ballistic damage. But keep in mind, this one haven't included the RNG base from the Dewa skill. In order to calculate the RNG base from the Dewa skill, I will use this logic instead. So for example, if we shot 100 shot, there will be 35% from the 100 shot can trigger the Dewa skill. So it will be 35 shot that will trigger the Dewa skill. So the total Dewa skill damage will be this much, and the total shooting damage after shooting 100 shot will be this much, and the total damage will be this much. And this one, I will input it in here. This one is come from the alignment index, and I'm gonna change it to ballistic damage. The total damage will be this much for ballistic damage. I'm gonna input it in here. You can see that the differentiation, ballistic damage can perform better than alignment index, because alignment index can increase the Dewa skill damage, but the Dewa skill damage is RNG based damage, while ballistic damage can provide a constant damage improvement. That's why ballistic damage can provide a little bit more damage than alignment index in this case. But there is one more effect I haven't included in this case. The way alignment index can deal double damage to frozen enemy. So, if your Dewa skill able to deal double damage to frozen enemy, the Dewa skill damage per shot will become even more higher than the normal shot. That means her Devo skill can perform even better, more than ballistic damage can do. Her Devo skill, even as a RNG based skill, can provide even more damage than the ballistic damage talent improvement can do. So the conclusion is, attack percent talent is still the highest priority for you to get, while alignment index talent is still the second highest priority for you to get, while for crit damage and crit rate, the highest rank crit damage talent can provide more ballistic damage than crit rate talent. But for this one, you will need to calculate yourself, because 1% crit damage amplifier talent can provide only 0.6% ballistic damage, while 1% crit rate can give you 1% ballistic damage. While the last one, for Frost Elemental damage, as a third talent, is still unchanged. And the last one is we also got a new skin for Katya KLEIN, because maybe some people are complaining about her prosthetic leg. But the difference between both of these skins is she no longer showing her prosthetic legs, and the next thing that changed is this thing. I don't know why this got slightly shifted to the right side of her to make it look more symmetrical, while for the back side almost have no difference. I think that's all from me about Katya KLEIN new buff. If you like my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, see you next time, cheers!